Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, January 13th. It is 6:22 right now. We got market opening up in about 8 minutes. Um, so I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in, and then we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. So let's see who's here so far. Morning, Karen. Morning, Daniel. Cody's doing good. So we actually haven't seen him yet. His surgery was done 2 days ago. Yesterday we had to leave him alone because he can't really get excited. Um, yeah, he can't really get excited yet because his basically split open his back, so he has to heal up and let that close out first. So we know for sure if we saw him, he'd go pretty crazy and get super excited. So we couldn't see him yesterday, but we are gonna see him today. So after this live session, I'm actually gonna head to the hospital and check on Cody, but he's doing good. Doctor said he's pretty good. He still can't feel below his in his legs yet, but he has a 80 to 90% chance of full recovery. So we're hopeful, and we're hoping that, over the next couple of days he'll start to get feeling in his legs. It's yeah, it's really hard to tell. The good thing is that we caught his injury, or we got surgery right away so that we were able to really get the best possible outcome. It's kind of like trading, right? It's risk reward. You're able to catch it early on, and you're able to get the issue resolved as quickly as possible. So we will see what's up. Yeah, thanks, Daniel. I appreciate it. He should. It's just gonna be a lot of recovery for him. He'll probably be back in his chair for a while. 'Cause he's got to chill out. Let's see. Rev's asking, the algo header is missing from the Discord. Um, hmm. So make sure you have. So Rev, go over here to the top on Discord and make sure you have show all channels enabled, and it should be on there. Yeah, it should be on there. So today's daily bias is neutral to slightly bullish. So we'll see what happens here when market opens up. I'll let you guys know the direction of the breakout shortly, like right before market opens. It's going to be against momentum. So depending on which momentum comes up, we'll know. I've changed my alerts over here. Before I just had signal fired. I have it where it tells me which direction now. So I know if just, a sell momentum's coming or if a buy momentum's coming, stuff like that. So we have a better idea of like which direction price is likely flickering to. Um, but okay, so it looks like people are on their way in right now. So just before we get started, guys, just another reminder, I am registered as a professional trader, commodity trading advisor with the CFTC and with the NFA. Futures trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. You can lose more than your initial investment. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This stream is for informational and educational purposes only. Nothing shown or discussed is a solicitation to buy or sell any futures contract or to participate in any trading program. I may hold positions in the market as discussed, but my views may change at any time based on the market conditions. If hypothetical or backtested results appear during the stream, they have significant limitations and do not represent actual trading. So with that said, let's get started. We got the breakout coming up shortly in about 5 minutes, guys. So we'll see what happens here shortly as that happens. Again, we will be looking against momentum. So we currently have a sell momentum here. Yeah, we currently have a sell momentum. So if this stays in place at 629, then we'll probably be looking for price to push to the upside, because it is going to be against momentum. If we have a buy signal come up before then they'll probably be looking for a possible sell or a push to the downside. So, all right, let's see what else is here so far. Morning Hadas. Um, Rev said show all channels is selected, can work on it later. Uh, Guys, does anybody else have an issue finding the algo channel? Rev's having an issue. I'm not sure if it's been taken down. It should be there because I see it here right now. So I'm not sure if anybody else is having issues seeing the algo channel. Yeah, Daniel sees it. If Daniel sees it, then you should be able to see it, Rev. Yeah, Hada sees it too. So it should be there. Um, if you want to send a screenshot, Rev, that's cool. I mean, if you want to send a screenshot of like your Discord, take a screenshot of the premium tab or your whole Discord. I can kind of maybe help you troubleshoot it. Yeah, because if other people are seeing it, it should be there. It's just probably hidden somehow. Thanks, Vincent. Yeah, Vincent sees it too. Ben sees it. Thanks, guys, for your input. So again, guys, just a reminder for today, I'll be looking for an MPS entry or an algo entry. Our first algo entry for today is going to be at or sorry, it's not going to be it's not a target entry, but it's a listed entry. Our first target entry is at 644. Um, yeah, they're kind of spread out. Actually, sorry, that's not the right one. 630. The first one's at 643. And I mean, we'll see. Ideally, the MPS V2 will probably come up first. So that's probably what's going to be looked at. But I mean, we'll see what happens here when market opens up. Okay, perfect. Rev found it. Yeah, no problem, Rev. Glad you could find it there. So, all right, if you guys are looking to take the breakout for today, guys, it's looking like it's going to be a buy. So we will see what happens here in a few. You guys are looking to get into that breakout. There was a heavy spike this morning. Yeah, 5:30 down. So 189 point spike right there. That was CPI. So today's CPI, we had the CPI data come out right there. And we have new home sales at 7 o'clock. So it's some stuff to look out for. All right, if you guys are looking to take the breakout for today is going to be a buy if you guys are looking to get into that. I'm not taking it, but if you guys want to, it's going to be there. I'm just going to mark up some structure here for my MPS V2 because I typically don't trade if there is a I typically don't trade it if there's structure there, or not structure, but just lower lows and higher highs. All right, guys, we got market opening up shortly in about 10 seconds. Again, if you guys want to take it, these are the probabilities for the breakout. If you're doing an 80-40, has a 10% max equity drawdown, probability of 70%, profit factor of 3.263. So market's open. It's really slow, but it is running right there. That's the breakout. You guys can see the long right there. So 40 points has already hit. If you guys went for the quick 40 points, that's already done with. If you guys are going for the 50 is still I mean it's still active. I'm surprised this breakout's really this slow. It's actually kind of shocking to see it this slow right now. So right there, it already hit 40 points if you guys went for that. So a full TP for 40 points. If you guys are going for 50 points for the 1-to-1 50-50, it's still currently running. It just everybody does the breakout kind of differently. It just depends on how much you're looking to aim for. So if you're doing 50-50, it's still currently running right now. It's a really slow breakout for today, but the 40-20 has already hit. So 40-20 is already done with. Again, it just depends on like what criteria you guys are using. If you're doing 50-50, I think it's still running right now. So the 50-50 is still running. There's a lot of structure here where price can likely, fake out reverse and stuff like that. So just something to keep in mind. I'm gonna change the structure back to like red. I think red's a better color because you know to like kind of be careful for it. So I'm just going around marking up structure. All right. Look at price is kind of coming down a little bit. I'll be looking for that MPS entry pretty soon. Well, obviously not right now, but pretty soon. All right, we got price here. So there goes the market structure for the most part. Pretty much I identified these basically the higher highs and the lower lows. The reason why I'm marking up these higher highs and lower lows is because this kind of establishes the ceiling and the floors. So obviously this is like the top area, and then we have obviously the smaller top area, the floors right here, which would act as support or resistance. Price kind of just going back and forth between those areas right now. Again, depending on how you guys wanted to apply this strategy, the 40-20 did hit, 50-50 did not hit. So again, it just depends on like what your criteria was for the breakout there. So, all right, other than that, I'm gonna go back and look for my actual entries for today. And for some reason, my trading is really, really laggy. Let me refresh it. I don't know if your guys is like that, but mine is. All right, this should fix it. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. So what I'm mainly looking for here right now is I'm looking for a buy signal to come up. So the reason I'm looking for a buy signal here to come up is because, well, for two things. So for one, the MPSV2, I'm looking for a buy, and for the algo entries, I'm looking for a buy as well. So until we get a buy signal, there's nothing here yet. You can see price is kind of sitting around this structure here that I marked up. So we got price sitting at the structure. This structure is also where the Asia low and London high is. So this is a relevant structure. Price is kind of just bouncing around this area right now. Again, I'm looking for a buy signal. I'll get a flickering momentum once that happens. We don't have it here yet, but if and when we do, we'll be looking for that. Looking at the sell signal right here, this is where a possible MPS V2 had came up earlier. This was pre-market, so obviously not something that I'd be looking to get into, but this was a MPS V2 which came up at 626. So this was a pre-market MPS V2 into market open. Yeah, it actually hit like at 629 around there. Let's scroll up. Hunter said, do sales make sense because the resting liquidity from this morning news? Yeah, no, it does. I mean, so looking at this right here, it really could have gone either way with regard to that news, Hunter. The thing is because the liquidity was kind of, I mean, it was liquidated already when price came down right here, right? It came down for it to fill the gap. So price pushed up from the news, it came right here. And then there's two things that could have happened on market open because it pushed back up to this area, right? So it could have pushed up to fill this gap, right? The rest of this area right here, like basically just refill this point, or it could have came back down like it is right here to finish off the retracement from the news gap. So usually for the breakouts, when there's like high impact news, like enough to spike it almost 200 points, it's usually like very, very risky in a sense if it's already filled the gap for the most part, right? Like for example, here price pushed up and it already filled the gap for the most part right here. Typically when price pushes up like this, it'll fill to the half or it'll fill the gap to the halfway mark and then reverse back up, or it'll fill to the halfway mark and then continue dropping to fill the rest of the gap, right? But the thing right here is that it already started pushing back up. Right, I had market structure marked up right here. So the thing is, like, this could have gone either way because what happened here was like it looked like it was done filling the gap pre-market, and then it just sat right here for a bit. And then there was two things that could have happened. Price would have pushed back up to fill this gap, or it would have just came down here to finish filling the prior gap. But it's pushing down further, and it's almost down to that area. So now that we're here at this lower structure. At this point, there's one of two things that will likely happen, right? Like whenever you guys analyze the market, and I'm sure most of you understand this, is like there's not going to be one analysis. There's always going to be two analyses. Like right now, we're currently the structure. One of two things are going to happen, right? It's either going to bounce off here and swing back up for a fake out, or it's going to break and hold below this area, right? So like the key thing here to look at is like to see how price reacts to this structure down here, because this lower low was established prior to that big spike. And it's also in confluence with that big spike that happened with the news earlier for CPI. So we'll, I mean, obviously we're going to see, we don't have a buy signal here yet. We have a pending or a flickering momentum, which came up over here. Uh, hmm, weird. Man, freaking Ninja Trader. Ninja Trader just disconnected. Like, I mean, it disconnected and didn't even say anything. I had to pull it up because I heard the noise. I got to make sure to keep checking Ninja Trader just in case this stuff happens again. All right, so we still don't have a buy signal here yet. The entries that we're looking for are for a buy, but in order to take those entries, we would have to have the buy signal. There's no MPS available right now either. So we'll we're gonna have to wait and see. All right, what's up with this Ninja Trader? I feel like there's always a period where Ninja Trader just has a lot of network issues. Okay. Yeah, I don't know any other platform that has network issues like Ninja Trader, but it feels like there's like periods where Ninja Trader is just like really, really unstable. Today's fine. It was just weird because usually when I get disconnected, it'll say like connection lost or something like that. But right now, it just disconnected for like I think 6 accounts and didn't say anything and just made the noise, which is kind of annoying because I want to know when these accounts get disconnected. Okay, anyways, guys, we're looking for entry here. Again, looking at my analysis, we don't have anything here yet. So you guys can see the structure that I marked up here. We don't have anything here yet. The first entry coming up, or let's see. There's actually an entry that came up over here, or it didn't come up. It was a no entry. So if you guys are looking at my list of algo entries for today, we had an entry that was listed at 637 for the 4020. It was a no entry because it was for a buy. There's no buy signal here yet. The next one's coming up right here at 644. It's also a buy for 4020. And then we also have this one at 643. But again, we don't have any buy signals here, so there's no entry specific um, for those specific entries. Price is dumping pretty hard right now. Let me see if there's any news here. I mean, obviously they're liquidating. It was like super bullish for the past couple of days and whatnot. Um, no breaking news really. You guys have probably seen this right here. Trump is going after Powell. So they're doing a probe into Powell. Yeah, it's crazy. Global central bankers unite in defense of Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Um, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Trump's presidency, like a lot of crazy stuff has happened over the year and so. And I think it's just going to get even crazier, guys. The thing with Trump, and all of we've talked about this, and this isn't even political at all, but the thing with Trump is that he's really trying to leave his mark, right? He's doing a lot of crazy things that like no other president would do, which is not a bad thing, because we do need change here in the U.S., of course, right? He's making a lot of like crazy, I wouldn't say crazy, but he's doing a lot of things that people like other presidents would never think to do, right? Like the whole Venezuela thing that happened, and then um, I feel like there's like two other countries, right? We talked about like what's going to happen next. The U.S. is either going to try and take over Greenland or even invade Iran. I think with all the protests happening in Iran, this is giving Trump a reason to invade Iran and do and steal their oil as well. Um, so I think over this year, there's going to be a lot of other crazy things happening. I mean, obviously, we have no control over that stuff, but everything that's been happening all around the world, I feel like all this stuff is kind of pre-planned in a sense. It's not going to affect our trading very much. It's actually going to help our trading because it's going to increase volatility. Like right now, the ATR is really high, right? It's been really high for the past month or past couple weeks, I guess, for January. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, I think, for this year, we should probably brace for a lot more volatility because I'm not expecting Trump to stop at all. I feel like it's just going to keep happening and more stuff's going to keep just continuing and we'll I mean I guess we're gonna see how the market reacts to it. But yeah, I don't think the volatility is gonna because typically the volatility will slow down and it'll be closer to like 20 ATR around this time of the year. Early in the year kind of slows down a bit. But right now it's pretty high. It's consistently been above like or around 40 for the past couple weeks. And I think it's gonna keep happening because every week there's gonna be a new headline. Right. Like last week it was the Venezuela thing. This week is now they're going after Jerome Powell. Next week, I don't know what's going to happen next. Um, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how market reacts to it. But anyways, there's no buy signal here yet, so let me check my list of algo trades again. So 643, we had an algo entry that was a target entry. It was and I have it down here actually. So it had a 7% max equity drawdown, profitability of or probability of 55% for both directions, prop factor of 2.207. The probabilities over here were higher on the buy side. So obviously we're looking for buy, but there was no buy signal here. So there is no entry here yet for that one. We're just going to put no entry under our notes. At 7-Eleven, we have a sell entry, which is coming up. It's not listed, but it's a sell entry. So if you guys are looking to get into that one, we'll probably look at that. Um, Going back to the 40/20. So the 40/20 over here, yeah, basically all the buys that we have listed, there are going to be no entries, at least until we have a buy signal come up. I'm looking over here at the flickering momentum. We did have buy momentum come up at 635, pending, and 643, but they haven't closed yet. So we'll continue to follow this here. But you guys can see over here, if you guys joined a little late, I have the alerts listed over here for buy or sell, so we can know if market's trying to shift the other way. So it tried to shift to the buy side a couple minutes ago, but it obviously it failed and it didn't actually hold. So we'll see for market to make that shift again or try to make that shift as we continue on further. So yeah, we don't have anything here right now. I'm just gonna keep the untested, and I don't know what's up with trading. I don't know if is your guys trading view laggy like this, guys? My trading view seems really, really laggy today. I don't know if it's just my computer or if it's you guys too, but for some reason, when I refresh it, it works pretty well initially, and then it gets laggy again. I guess really laggy. I don't have too many tabs open. Could be the case. Let me draw the structure here. Yeah, like what's up with this? I know this happened before. I mean, we've used TradingView in the past, and it was like really, really laggy at one point. I know I have a lot of tabs open, so I don't know if I need to close something, I'll close it. It's just, I don't know if this is a regular thing. Lila said it's all a distraction from the Epstein files. Yeah, I mean, that could be it too. Honestly, there's a lot of stuff like the Epstein files. I haven't even looked at the files. I know they released like those that stuff prior. But yeah, I haven't even looked at it. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's so many things going on around the world. I feel like, there before Trump was president, there was just nothing. It was really boring, right? The whole world was boring, the market was boring, there just nothing was going on. I feel like every week there's something new happening. And like, like Lila said and like Jesus agreed with, it really is all a distraction, honestly. In a sense, we don't know if it's specifically for the Epstein files, but yes, it is a distraction because the US has, they have all this stuff's kind of baked in for an alternative motive. And that's not even saying from a conspiracy side. It's really just in general, that's kind of what the US does, right? They always create some sort of distraction so they can do something else. Like I feel like like nobody knew what was going to happen in Venezuela, and then it just happened because everyone was distracted by other stuff. Same with like this here, right? Like I think like there's the all these protests going on. There's so many things like you think about it. There's like the ICE stuff that's going on, the protests in Iran, the or protests here for Iran, the whole Venezuela thing. There's like it kind of catches everyone's attention, right? Because something's going to catch someone's attention. Like this is going to catch someone's attention, or there's always something that's interesting to somebody. And then all of a sudden the weekend happens and something crazy happens that you would have never thought would happen. Yeah, Jesus said bad feeling something going on with Iran next. Yeah, no, I could see that. Like what's happening in Iran right now, it's going to give the U.S. an excuse to go and invade, right? Well, that's just kind of how U.S. has their fingers in everybody's pocket. So, uh, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, the good thing is that we're here in the U.S., so it's not really happening. Well, I mean, it is because there's still crazy things happening here. But thankfully, we're here where if the bad stuff happens, it typically happens in other countries, unless they do something that's, an inside job type thing. But then again, that goes into the whole conspiracy theory. Um, yeah, Sam said the CPI was not good. New home sales later. Yeah, we got new home sales in about 10 minutes, guys. There's no momentum signal here yet, but I see price pushing up, so we're probably gonna get a pending momentum in a few. If anybody's looking for that, I don't have any more target entries or listed entries until 7, so we're kind of just gonna hang back for a little bit for now. Once I take my entry, I'll start running the chop bot again to kind of test it out. Paul said no Timid snipe today. Yeah, this thing's been done before. I don't see any snipe here, at least until price kind of swings up. We have the pending momentum there now. So right here, 651 pending momentum for buy, like I mentioned. So price was down here, and I mentioned, oh yeah, the pending momentum is probably going to come up because I did see the volatility here, or some sort of momentum push to the upside. Hasn't closed yet, but we'll see what happens. Let's see. Daniel said not really that crazy unless you go down and get yourself into the middle of a protest. Yeah, exactly, Daniel. Like I would never put myself in that situation. I understand why people are protesting, and it's a good thing because there has to be people doing that stuff for there to be change. But you'll never catch me in a protest, guys. You'll never even catch me at the Dodgers parade, bro. You don't catch me at anything where anything crazy can happen. But when I was younger, yeah, we would go to like the Lakers parade when they would win, and the Dodgers parade and stuff like that. But nowadays, I'm like, I'm not gonna risk myself going to any of that type of stuff because a lot of crazy things happen at those parades and protests, guys. If you guys have never done it or attended a protest or anything like that, it's uh it's crazy. And it's not the people protesting either. It's just there's crazy people out there, right? Like you guys have probably saw on the news what happened with the Iran protests in LA. And that guy ran in with a U-Haul truck, like to try to like obviously he wasn't aiming to run people over, but he could have ran people over, and that's like it's crazy. So you can never have a peaceful protest here in the US. So there's always going to be someone crazy doing something that you wouldn't even imagine. I mean, at least you're not here anymore in California, Dan. I feel like California's pretty crazy. The protesters here, they're on another level. Yeah, Hunter said Chatbot is amazing at certain times, like 9 a.m. on NQ. Yeah, that's why I ran it on yesterday, Hunter. Because NQ has pretty good volatility. So like if you can find dead volatility for NQ, that's when the Chatbot works best. So yesterday I ran the Chatbot. Let me see how much profit I made yesterday. I posted it in the chat. I made about 1,800 on the Chatbot. I posted it up over here. Yeah, so Masij ran it for about an hour and a half. He made 3,469. I think he used a bigger contract size. I used just one contract and I made 1,795. I just ran it for like about an hour or two on NQ. You can see my NQ right there. Let's see what Masij had there. It doesn't show his symbol, but yeah, I think NQ is probably like one of the best ones because it's so choppy, right? It's so choppy. So and it's very volatile. So you're able to get in and out of those positions very quickly. The only problem with NQ though is that if you do apply it on NQ, there's a higher probability that's gonna, if it spikes, because which it does have spikes, it's gonna really mess up your account. So you got to understand when to pull it out. As long as you let the chop bot stop for you, it'll it'll kind of predict when the market's about to move kind of crazy, and it'll just turn off on its own. But you have to watch it because if not, you'll have a runner kind of just running through. Like it just won't close you out. You have an active position. Masij is making adjustments to it, so he's going to that's what he told me. He's not here today. Yeah, Masij's been pretty busy lately, but he is dropping updates and stuff like that with the tool. Sam said also President Trump speaks later after our session. Yeah, I guess we'll see what he has to say about everything that's going on. Don't be surprised if like you wake up on Saturday and it's like US has invaded Iran because that's kind of what happened with Iraq. With like, stuff like that just kind of happens. You can't really plan for it. Um, but Iran's going to be a lot more difficult to take over because obviously they have an army. Venezuela kind of just was an easy target for them. Let's see. Ed said, Sean, when you were running it, did you have to intervene at all, or did you just leave it for an hour? So I left it for an hour, but I should have intervened because I came back after like 30 minutes and I had a trade running. Thankfully, it was so like what happened is the chop bot it will pull you out, right? Usually after every like kind of 5 to 10 points. But like luckily for me, it like entered a position and it was like way up here. Like I was like almost like 100 or 200 points in profit. The thing is, if it went the other way, my account would have been totally screwed, right? So I don't think you should ever leave it unattended. If you guys are watching the chop bot, that's what Misij is actually fixing right now. He's fixing the issue with like these we call them ghost orders, where where there's a ghost order that kind of runs through and then doesn't get closed out. There's no target, so it doesn't pull out. So I mean, thankfully it worked out in my favor because the chop bot knew which direction to hold it on for, but it could have ended really badly. I haven't had an issue where the chop bot had a ghost order and it lost. It's always predicted the proper direction. With Masij though, he had a ghost order a long time ago. This was before this current uh version, but he had a ghost order. And it wasn't really a ghost order, it was just a price spike and it never closed him out. And he ended up losing like 15,000 of like or seven, something like that, 7 to 15,000 of like his of like cash, like in an actual live account, because he wasn't paying attention to it. So yeah, if you guys are using the chop bot, pay attention to it, and then if you see like an active order with no targets on your chart, just close it out, and then just reset or restart the chop bot because you don't want any ghost orders, especially if like you don't know which direction it's going. Because the thing with the chop bot is that it factors in a lot of things that like you might not be aware of course. This is a possible MPSV2 entry right here, guys. The thing is the candle's kind of big. I think the candle might be a little too big. Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit out on this one because the candle's too big. If you guys want to get into this MPSV2, so whenever there goes the MPSV2 right now, it's currently running. I was thinking about getting into this one, but you can see that green candle right there is too big. So the problem with having a candle that's too big like that is that it could retrace back to the halfway point and stop you out before it pushes it up. That's one of my criteria, right? So let me just put my criteria over here. See, no entry if the confirmation candle is too big. Stop loss is less than majority size of the candle. So like, yeah, the stop loss here would be it just be way too tight. And then we also have news coming up in about 2 minutes. So good decision on skipping that because that there would have been a loss, right? This, like I've talked about this in the past, guys. The thing with trading, a lot of times it's self-control, right? Being able to understand the things that may affect it, especially with the high impact news event coming up right here at 7 o'clock. Yeah, thanks, Daniel. So I just got to stick to the game plan. Stick to the game plan. Things will be fine. With the consistency, it's just I'm looking for that one entry for the day. So, all right, there goes that. Um, our first entry here. Yeah, we're gonna see how market reacts to the news. So this looks like a pre-news market movement. The next, like we have a target entry coming up shortly in about a minute. It's for the 40-20. Obviously not one I would mess with, but if you guys are looking for it, we'll see. Let's see. Hunter is asking, what is a ghost order? A ghost order is basically an order that's running but has no targets. Like it because the chop bot is supposed to always have a target on the market, like on your chart, right? There should never be an order with no exit. Um, a ghost order is basically when it's running, like you have an active position, but there's no target. Like there's no way of getting out of it. The only way to get out of it is if you manually close out of the position. So that's what a ghost order is. It's like it's a ghost. It's on its own. Basically, it's on its own, and we don't know what happened to it. We don't know how it got there. It's uh it's an order that was triggered by one of the levels for the chop up, but it just didn't have a target to exit from. Sometimes it happens when there's slippage. Like sometimes you'll have an order where you take a buy and then it just passes right through the target and it keeps going. And that's kind of what happens because it ends up basically deleting or taking off the exit positions and then it's just running by itself. Or you could call it a runner too. Like sometimes I call it a runner. Masish calls it a ghost order because he doesn't know what happened or how it came. But I call it like a runner in a sense. The thing is the chop attack is really smart. So it's whenever it gives you a runner or a ghost order, it's typically going to be in your favor. But you just have to watch it to make sure. Like I would say to, if you're following the ghost order, trail it with like a trailing stop in a sense. I think that's probably the best way of doing it. So just something to pay attention to. All right, we have a pending sell momentum right here. It just came up at 701. Okay, so I'm looking over here at the 40-20 guys. The 701 was for a sell because there's no sell momentum right now. It is no entry. Next entry is at 705. It's gonna be for a buy for 40-20 if anybody's looking to get into that. A lot of no entries today. You guys can see market here is a bit choppy. We talked about this before. You don't really want to trade in this choppy market, guys. So basically what I'd be looking for here is if price decides to, climb up higher, I'll be looking for it to push back up. These uh these higher highs and lower lows have already been validated, so they're not going to be listed over here on mine. But we'll be following it. Looks like today might be a bit of a no trade day. I'll be looking to take trades, but right now at this very moment, it's just not looking like we're getting very much. The 630 entry, 60/30 entry is going to be at 711, so we have some time for that one. But for the 40/20, there's one coming up at 705. It's going to be for a buy. Just kind of depends if there's a flickering momentum here, so it probably shouldn't be taken, but we'll follow it. All right, what was the news like? So the news over here at 7 o'clock, it was mixed. So we had new home sales month over month, which was positive. For this month, it was positive. Month over month for October, negative. It's crazy that because we had the government shutdown, they tend to have like they're like doubled up now. Because it used to just be one, but now they're doing like doubles here because we were so far behind with the news. Like CPI too, I think, yeah. But anyways, it was mixed news, that new home sales. All right, so we have a possible algo entry over here at 40 with a 40/20 coming up at 705. The thing is, we've had flickering momentum here from 703 to 704. So, I mean, if you guys want to take it, you guys are free to take it, but understand that there's risk involved with this specific entry for the obvious reasons. It's for one, we're in chop. This is a choppy market right now. For two, there is there's flickering momentum. So price is attempting to push down. It's trying to push down right now, but it's not having luck getting past the structure right here, right? It's having a lot of trouble getting past the structure. So something to keep in mind. Again, 705 is going to be the first possible opportunity here for a 40/20. It's going to be for a buy, but there is flickering momentum, so it's going to be technically a no entry for me if I was looking at it. I don't take any trades with flickering momentum. I also don't like taking trades when price is chopping up right here. Emmanuel said coming late. Any official entries or MPS V3s? Morning, Emmanuel. Nothing yet so far because we had news over here at 7 o'clock, so there was nothing for us to take there. There was an MPS V3 that was setting up right here, but we talked about it. It was for one, the candle was too big. It defeats, well, it's a criteria for no entry or basically red flag. Whenever the candle's too big and it's bigger than the stop loss, more than like majority of the body, then we typically wouldn't take that because price will tend to reverse or pull back, right? So yeah, no official entries and no MPS or anything like that, at least not yet. I am marking up structure here so I can follow it and possibly get into something, but yeah, at this very moment, there's nothing at the moment. So we'll uh we'll keep following through. I mean, price here is super choppy. This is actually a good time to run the chop bot for anybody who's looking to run the chop bot. YM right now is chopping up very heavily, so this is a good time to run the chop bot if you guys are thinking about it. Um, I would run it, but I just can't because if I start running the chop bot, it's going to it's going to interfere with my actual entries. So this is actually good conditions for chop bot. I don't know if anybody's testing it. Again, if you guys want to use the chatbot, it's available to premium members. So if you're in the premium on the Discord, so here's the Discord, guys. If you guys want the chatbot, go over here to Algo and Extensions. And then there's going to be a Google Drive right here, and that's where you can download the chatbot. I think so. I saw yesterday, Emmanuel was trying to download it. I believe Masish took it down because he was updating it with a new version. Um, After I used it a couple times yesterday, I found a couple bugs, and we're going to be updating it like basically daily. So just make sure to check on that for the update. But yes, if you guys are new here and you guys want access to the chat bot, it is available to premium members. So if you have access to my indicators, my tools, it will be available there. The thing with the chatbot guys is that it's not my tool, right? So we're making it available to people here in the community. But once we're done with the testing, it's Masij's tool. So he has the ability to charge for it and he does plan to charge for it. So just keep that in mind. Okay, guys. What we want to show you is that it's worth paying for, right? So that's the thing. Like we're going to keep testing it. I'm going to test it. Message is going to test it. We'll post our profits when it shows up so that you guys can kind of see the consistency of the chatbot. You guys have to understand that the chatbot is a very risky tool. So, and you can't really use it with prop accounts. So just make sure that you guys understand that because the last thing we want is for you guys to get banned from like Apex or something like that because of the because you'd be violating the rules. Apex doesn't allow for bots. I guess you guys can find a prop firm that does allow for bots. There's not very many or any at all. But if you guys do find one, I mean, you guys are free to use it. You would mainly want to use it for your live account though. So what I would say is use my strategies to pass your eval, get some payouts, put that money into a live funded account, and then trade the chop bot on your live funded account or your actual live money, like real money. Yeah, because Masij, this is from his actual live account. He's made a lot of money using the chop bot. I think he started off with like 100,000. He's up like I think almost like close to like 136 now. It's not a crazy amount, but it is pretty good. And then now it's just scaling now. It's identifying what to fix on it and stuff like that. Let's see, Emmanuel said the issue with using prop firms for bots is they have disclaimers in their contract that state if they ask you to prove it's your bot and you can't, they will ban you. You have to own it and be the only one using it. So that was the rule before, Emmanuel. I looked at the rules for Apex. They actually say no more, like no bots at all now. Like no automated trading. So I don't know if you looked at the most recent terms and conditions, but they don't allow for automated trading anymore. I know they change the rules pretty often, but the last time we looked, we wanted to make sure because obviously this is a good tool to use for Apex, of course. Um, and the way that it trades, it's going to be really obvious that it's a bot because it trades really fast, right? It's not like taking trades like there's no like break periods. It's like sometimes you have a trade that happens within a couple of seconds, couple minutes, couple, whatever it may be. Um, but yeah, there's no way for them to, I mean, there is a way for them, but there's like the only way they'll know it's a bot is if you send them your logs, which they're probably gonna ask you for your logs if they think it's suspicious. Um, But yeah, I mean, you're taking the risk, right? You're really taking the risk. There's a couple people who have been banned from Apex that we know of. And the thing is, once Apex bans you, you're like, they don't respond to any of your stuff anymore. Like, I have a direct connection with some Apex executives because I am working with them. And I try to get their accounts unbanned and they're still banned. I even have a personal friend that got banned for, I don't know how or why he got banned, but yeah, he got banned and they don't respond to any of his emails. If I bring it up, they don't respond to it. Um, they're pretty serious about it. I don't know. I mean, something bad must have happened. Maybe someone with the bot made a ton of money and they got screwed, so they don't want people using stuff like that anymore. Let's see, Hunter said MFFU allows for bot trading, from my understanding. Okay, cool. Well, if they work, I'll probably check them out because the bot is it's pretty good. I mean, if you can just run it and like during chop periods, like right now, for example, it would chop right here. You could probably make a couple $100, a couple $1,000, and then you just turn it off when price breaks out of the range. It's pretty useful. So I'll try to run the chop bot if there's no entry for today, or if there ends up being an entry, I'll just run the chop bot, and then you'll kind of see how it works. Yeah, because the chop bot's a pretty cool tool. It's a cool tool. You just have to use it sparingly. Like you have to like the problem with the chop out is that once you start to see a lot of profits on it, you're gonna want to take a lot of trades. And the thing with the chop out is it's not supposed to be used all throughout the day. They're supposed to be only you're supposed to use it within like short periods of time. because once market starts trending, you're gonna get screwed. You're gonna get burnt pretty badly. Anyways, we have the 60-30 entry, which came up over here at 711. So there's one here that's currently running. This is an unlisted entry. I mean, it's a listed entry, but it's not a target entry. So this one's currently running right now. It's active. The 712, which is a target entry, is for a buy. And of course, NinjaTrader would have a connection issue right now. Let me check to make sure my accounts are okay. Okay. And the accounts are okay right there. But yeah, so the 711 entry is currently running right now. The 712 was for a buy, so there's no entry there. Um, yeah, there's no entry there. Ah, man, what a slow day today. There's an MPSV2 pattern right here. This doesn't fall under my MPSV3 because we would need a higher high right here, but there's an MPSV2 pattern where there's a sell signal retracement confirmation for continuation right there. Again, I'm not looking to take any MPSV2s. I'm looking to take MPSV3s. Slight difference is that it's just not using the trend and we're using market structure as confluences. So there's no higher high here establishing a ceiling. So it's not one that I'm personally looking to get into, of course. Once this lower low is established, I'm going to adjust the lower low to a lower point. There's just nothing there right now. So 714 right here, we have another possible listed entry. There's a 714 entry here, which is coming up. It has a max equity drawdown of 7%. Overall probability of 50%. Buys at 40, sells at 60. Prob factor of 1.935. The direction is for a sell. So there's another entry coming up right here. After this candle, well, as soon as this candle here closes. Again, if you guys want to take these entries, I would say take them at your own risk because the volatility here is pretty low. The ATR is starting to drop down quite a bit. It was at 40 ATR. It's now down to 30. Again, like we talked about earlier, these are good conditions for the chop bot. Unfortunately, I just can't run the chop bot right now because it's going to screw with my actual positions that I'm looking to get into. Once I do take my entry, I'll start looking for possible chop bot entries. But yeah, right now I have to stick to my main entries for the day. I'm looking for this one quality entry, and then once I get that quality entry, I'll start to flip over to the chop bot. So the last momentum that came up was at 709. That was the one that closed. No flickering momentum. I do see a flickering momentum coming up, and there we go with that buy signal. Again, there's no entries here that are currently running, or no official entries. There's just that 711, which came up right there. The 714 is active. It's going to put active here so I can come back and take a look at that later. The 715 over here as well. This is probably going to be active as well. All right, we got a bunch of 40-20 entries here. Let me see. 705 was for a buy. Check 705. There's flickering momentums here, so that'd be a no entry. Sir sell. So I'm updating the spreadsheet as we go, guys. If you guys are following it or looking at it. 714. 715. 720. Okay, so if you guys are following the spreadsheet, I did mark up a bunch of them right now. I've updated the spreadsheet up until 7:15. Let me go to the 60/30 now. 7:18. Yeah, so for the algo entries, it does not look like we're gonna get any entries for today. I mean, it is what it is. Just one of those days where there's just no entries. Um, yeah, so if you guys want to pull up the spreadsheet, or I'll show you guys the entries. There's just nothing here, so we have one more coming up at 7:20, but I don't think it's gonna come up. It's for a buy. Price has been dropping for a while now. No buy signal has actually closed, so there's just not going to be any entries. There's been flickering momentums though, so you can see over here the shift in momentum, right? So I think this here is going to help a lot because if you guys can see the shift in momentum, you can see where the sell started pushing up from, right? So if you look over here from 7 o'clock, the sell started to confirm. Yeah, like right here. This is actually really useful. I'm looking at this now and I'm like, wow, this is actually going to be. I can create a strategy based off this. So look, check this out. So see how we started having a sell momentum right here from 7 o'clock up until 7:09, right? That's a lot of sell momentums, right? So what I would say is if you see these sell momentums come up, see it started at 7 o'clock. I would put a line right there at 7 o'clock, right? Like wherever the 7 o'clock candle is. And I would look to enter a limit order there because it's like a break and retest, actually. It looks like price came down, retested it, and you actually could have taken a sell right there and then rode this down. Isn't that interesting? I just saw the pattern right there. I had an idea to kind of put this together, but that's actually pretty interesting to see that there. Okay, let's see if it doesn't always work in your, I mean, obviously you want to go with the trend if you're taking a trade like this, because this is a bigger trade. The buys here obviously wouldn't be used. So I'm just looking over here at the buy momentum. So we had a buy momentum here from basically 6:35 up until 6:55. So again, over here, 6:35. This here wouldn't meet the criteria because price never came back, right? Like 6:35, we had the buy momentum here, and then it just never came. It went through the floor, and the trend was bearish. But yeah, I think that's. I'll probably look at this later in the future and kind of see if this is something that we can put together. This is more of a day trading where you kind of just hold it for a longer period, but it is kind of interesting. Like if you have a heavy trend, you can kind of ride that trend further based off wherever the pending momentum's at. Yeah, I always get ideas like that. If I see patterns anywhere, you can kind of create a strategy based off like whatever you see here. And obviously makes sense with the momentum. All right, so this is 720 right here. This is gonna be an entry for the reason why I did this here as well is because if you have a flickering momentum in the direction of your trade, you can actually get into it. It doesn't meet, it's not the same criteria as going against it. So this right here is an entry for the um for the algo for a buy. I mean, obviously I wouldn't want to get into this position here because of the obviousness of price being so far below. But here, I'll put the list over here. Let me just go on. Obviously, it would be a no entry for me because of the flickering momentum, but yeah, this is the last one. So these are all the entries that came up or that we had listed for January 13th. There was just a bunch of no entries for the day because they just didn't meet the criteria. The 40/20 is still currently, I put the data up for yesterday. The data was actually pretty good for the overall entries. It had a 4R yesterday for the 40/20s. For the actual target entries, it was a -1. So just one loss net, But for the most part, if every trade was taken, including the listed, not just the target, it was a 4R for the day yesterday. I'll keep updating this as we go. There's a couple more trades here that are listed, so I'll try to take a look at that. But again, like for this entry right here, it's a no entry because there was flickering momentum up until the entry was at 720 and there was flickering momentum at 719. So typically I don't take any entries if the flickering momentum comes up 3 minutes prior. The reason I don't take trades around those areas is because there's uncertainty with the direction of price. So, I mean, we'll keep watching here. Price has been choppy pretty much all session, guys. So there's no surprise here why price is moving like this or why it's continuing to move like this. Um, it's really just chopping up right there down the middle. So with a new low being established right here, mark that up. So basically, this is the ceiling and this is the floor right now. So this is the higher high that which has been untested, and this is the lower low which has been untested. What you could look for here is a possible MPSV2. There's actually going to be no MPSV2 here or MPSV3 for me because there's a higher high right there. Right? There is a higher high right there. So criteria is not going to be met. All the strategies I apply, I don't apply choppy entries. The only when I start to apply chopped entries is when I'm using the chop bot, but I don't trade sideways. Not normally. Here, I'm going to mark up this higher high right here. So again, this is another reason. Here's an example of why the flickering momentum matters, right? So like I said, there's an entry here at 720, but it was ignored and not taken because there was a flickering momentum at 719. Whenever I have flickering momentum 3 minutes before an entry, I just don't take it because this is what happens a lot of times. It goes into this heavy chop, and the odds of you getting chopped out of the position are very likely. So again, nothing right there. There'd be a no entry because of the flickering momentum. So I'll go over here and I'll update it. So right here at 60.30, this was a flickering momentum, no entry. So literally no entries for today, guys. No entries for today with the 60.30. I'll go back and take a look at the 40.20. There's still an active position here. So the 7.11 is still active. You can see this one right here. And there's another one right here, which is active at 7.14. So I'll go and check that real quick. So this is the 7.11 entry. It's still running. It hasn't hit stop, hasn't hit target. It is still running right now. So again, that's a 7.11 entry. It's currently in profit. And then there was another 7.14 entry. I mean, technically, oh, where's the 7.14 at? I mean, I guess I could just leave it there. They're both running right now. They sort of overlap, but they're both still running. So I have two here that are still active. And I'll come back and take a look at that later. They're not so they're just listed entries, but they're not target. The target entries are going to be in green. The listed entries that are just they meet the criteria to be listed, but not they're not high enough to be a target entry. They're currently running right now. So we have those two that are running. 7.11, which is right here, 7.14, which is right here. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. I'll just drag this over later. I want to keep it as clean as possible. See if there's any 40/20s. So what I would be looking for here is I'd be looking for a possible MPSV2, MPSV3 actually. So now that I see it here, there's not going to be an MPS V3 here for me because there's a lower low there already, right? So that criteria that I put where there can't be a lower low or a higher high in the way of the trade, the reason why I put that there is because I don't want price to reverse when it gets down to this point, right? So for example, here, I wouldn't take a buy here for the MPS V3 because if price pushed up, it could easily reverse back down, right? If we didn't have this higher high here, then I would expect price to just keep climbing higher. Same situation with the lower lows, right? There's a lower low right here. See how there's a previous lower low at this point? And right here, so like price was up here. If I had a sell entry, I wouldn't take it because this whole area here, I could expect a bounce, right? And then right here, another bounce because these are untested high low or higher highs and lower lows. Basically, untested very strong support and very strong support resistance. So that's why like I have specific rules in place because they're there for a reason. They're not just random rules that I put up. They're there for a reason because it's going to prevent us from getting caught in reversals that may happen in the direction of our trade. Obviously, I would like this to drop more because we do have these entries kind of running right now for 711 and 714. So I'd like these trades to hit target, but there's always that possibility that price may reverse off this area here and push back up. Okay, let me check out my 40-20 entries. So there was a 40-20 entry for a buy at 720. Um, I'm not really identifying the flickering momentum. So I mean, I probably should, but I mean, there was a flickering momentum right there. Let me go over here for that loss at 714. That was actually no, that one was fine. I want to count the losses as much as I can and the wins as much as I can so that we have a realistic view of like what's happening. Um, but yeah, looking at this right here, there was just no entry at 720. I'm gonna put the note there, flickering momentum, no entry. 721, it was a buy. Same thing, flickering momentum. 723 for a buy. Um, 720. I'm gonna count that as a loss. I want to keep it as realistic as we possibly can so that we know if the 40-20s are actually working right now, which obviously they're not. I mean, they are to extent, but I'll show you guys the statistics in a few. Okay, so I'm done updating the 40-20s. Again, here's another reminder. See how price bounced off this lower low? I just talked about that. This is why I don't take MPS V2s in this direction because of obvious reasons, right? We have a possible MPS V2 back up higher. Let me see. Price would need to close past this higher high to invalidate it. If it becomes invalidated, then I'll take this zone off right here. But right now, I'm going to leave it up. Anyways, here's a list of trades. So here's the 40-20s. As you guys can see, there's just a lot of no entries so far. A lot of no entries, couple losses here. This is kind of balances out with yesterday. Yesterday we had a 4R. So if today has a couple losses, that's fine because it's going to balance out with what happened yesterday. All right, we got price pushing through. Let me go back and review this real quick. You know what? I'm looking at the 711 entry. There was actually a pending momentum right here at 709. So the 711 is actually a flickering momentum, no entry. 714, that was fine. Fair loss. All right, so these are all done. I'm gonna go and update I'll show you guys the updated spreadsheet. All right, so that's good right there. Okay, so now looking at this right here, guys, this here has been invalidated. Um, but like I said earlier, Like I said earlier, guys, see how there's a new higher high right here? Unfortunately, there's not going to be an MPS V2 for me. If you guys want to take it for an MPS V2, MPS V3, this here, it meets the criteria, but it doesn't meet my red flag, which is the higher high. Right. It's the same criteria that we talked about earlier. Let me just pull up my criteria for that entry for the MPS V3. It's just this today's just a choppy day. So it's a choppy day. There's no opportunities for me. I might just run my chop bot now because we're getting closer to, or I'll hang out for a little bit just in case like another entry comes up. But again, right here for my notes, there's no entry if there's a higher high or lower low in the way of the position. So for example, if you wanted to take an MPS right here, this wouldn't meet the criteria because there's a higher high right here, right? So if this here becomes a ceiling or a resistance that's established, then I'm screwed because if that becomes the case, price can easily just reverse on me right here. So I'm not in this position here. If you guys want to take this, this would be considered an MPS V2, MPS V3. However, it doesn't meet my criteria here because one of my criteria is to not take the entry if there's a higher high in the direction of the trade. So I'll follow it for you guys here, but I'm not going to take it. Because it just doesn't meet the criteria. So let's just look at the criteria here. Valid momentum signal right there for a buy. Confirm higher high prior to signal. Lower low right here. Confirm retracement, this red candle. Confirm continuation, this green candle. And you would enter it for a 40-20. But if there's a higher high or lower low in the way of the position, no entry. If there's a session there, no entry. If the candle's too big, no entry. That's another thing too. Like this candle right here was pretty big. It's not huge, but it is a little big. And the stop loss is a little too tight. So with that being the case, there was just two things here for me not to take the entry. There's a higher high in the way, and then also the candle's too big. So just got to stick to the game plan. This is the strategy here. Usually when the market's not choppy, you're not going to see these criterias get kind of triggered too much because you're not going to have higher highs and lower lows in the way. It's going to be climbing up, and you're going to have a lot of open space here to take these entries, right? But today's just not one of those days. So with that being the case, I've updated the 60/30. Let me go over here to the 40/20. I think the next one's at 636. Okay, for a sell. Yeah, nothing there. Yeah, let's see. Nick said I had no entries, although I was hoping for a sell. CPI people are so confident that it was going to be a sell with the bad news, and so was I laughing on the pump. Yeah, Nick, I agree. It's ironic, right? Like everyone thinks one thing's going to happen and does complete the opposite. Um, yeah, that thing pumped up like 200 points, so a lot of times it's better to just kind of sit back. Ed said, I think a few prop firms allow for bots. It's just high frequency trading that's prohibited. Yeah, exactly. That's a problem with the chop bot because it is high frequency in a sense. It's not always high frequency, but it is high frequency in a lot of circumstances. That's why it's easy to spot that it's a bot. Um, but yeah, if it's something that takes trades like, every couple of minutes, then it's harder to identify because it looks like a normal trading strategy. But if you're taking trades like every second or every couple of seconds, it's obviously a bot because a real person, it's almost impossible for someone to stay focused for that long to say buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell within a couple of seconds. All right, guys. So looking over here at the MPS V3 there hit. So like I said earlier, if you guys wanted to take it, it's just the criteria wasn't met for me. But the MPS V3 did come up right here. Like I said, the criteria was there. We had a lower low, buy signal, retracement, confirmation. There's just a couple things here that prevented me from getting into this position. For one, we had a higher high, meaning that a ceiling is attempting to be established. And then also we had a big candle here. The candle was, I mean, it wasn't huge. So like this candle was 37 points. The stop loss is 20 points. So as long as the candle isn't like more than 40, it's technically still meets the criteria. It's like, because it doesn't fill the majority of the candle. Um, but still, I mean, this wouldn't be an entry that we'd be looking to get into for, obvious reasons, of course. Sam said he missed. I know it happened too fast, right, Sam? This was one of the entries that Sam would have looked for, the MPS. The MPS is, it's obviously, it's one of my favorite strategies. We've been applying this over the years. I think it was about time we incorporated it with the algo. Um, the algo is good. It's just right now it's not a time that it's working. I mean, we had a really good October. It was a good a decent November. It's just I didn't take the trades that came up. So I'm trying to stick to the plan and really be more focused when I'm taking these entries so I don't miss them. December was actually not too bad either. There's just a few entries. And this month so far, I mean, we could take a look at the statistics, but there's not really too much here to work with. Okay, so no entries here for me today, it's looking like, which is completely fine. I think I could kind of play around with the chop bot now if you guys want me to. I kind of want to play with it, so we'll here, let me pull up a list. So here are entries for today. 60-30, there was only one loss, which was at 714. So let's just take a look at the entries, which I mean, for this year so far, there hasn't really been very many entries. So we're staying pretty much true to like the strategy when it come down to the algo. There's going to be periods where there's going to be more entries, but right now there just hasn't been any entries, right? There was nothing pretty much the first week of January, second week of January, just a bunch of no entries, lots of flickering momentums, which would have prevented losses. And then yesterday I took one trade finally, but that trade lost, unfortunately. The other trades won. So I mean, it's just one trade, of course. It's a 1 hour, so it's not a big loss, but still, that's the only trade that came up for the target entries with regard to my trading plan, right? For me, I'm only taking one trade per day. So if I take that loss, I'm done. But if you look over here from yesterday, well, the first one lost, but then everything else won. Or not everything else, but there was a good amount of wins here. So yesterday was actually a total of a 3R for 60-30. So in comparison to 40-20, 40-20 had a 4R yesterday, a lot more trades, but yeah, I mean nothing. So if we're just looking at the target entries again, it's at a negative 1R, which is completely fine. We're still early in the week. And then same with today. So again, if you guys have access to my algo, all of the algo trades are listed and documented here. We want to see a pattern here to see if it's like working well or if it isn't. Right now, it just seems like it's a little slow. So there's just nothing to take and there's nothing to follow, which again is, it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that because we're in a choppy market, obviously. So there's just not going to be anything there. Anyways, let's see. So I think there's one more entry that's going to be coming up over here, or two more actually. I think this is going to be a no entry, and I think this is going to be a no entry too, because these are both for sells. And we currently have a bullish push right now. It's kind of pushing up higher. So with that being the case, I guess we can switch over to the chat bot. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat, and then we'll discuss and we'll go over stuff. But I'll try to play around with the chat bot right now to show you guys how it works. I'm still testing it, so I can't make a video or I can't really explain to you guys very much. I'm still trying to figure out like what's causing these ghost orders, what's causing runners, how to stop it, what is the most ideal thing to do when stuff like that happens. But it's going to be a matter of time until we can get to that point. Vincent said it bounced at the same level it did yesterday. Yeah, looks like it did. Can't really zoom out far. Yeah, right here. Right, same place. So if I was to extend this out over here, literally the same area. It's kind of just sitting there now. Okay, so with that being the case, let me try to get my laptop linked over. Let me check NQ real quick. I just want to see which asset should I run the chop bot on. NQ looks good right now. It's very choppy. So I think I'll do that. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna log into my laptop on here. And then Hunter said, which chat is the bot in? It's in the algo extensions and automators. That's where the Google Drive extension is. Here, I'll just put the link. I don't know if the link is up yet because I think If you didn't get it the previous day, it's actually not up right now, Hunter. Yeah, we have to wait for Masish to update the revised version. So I don't think you'd be able to download it right now. I just pulled up the drive and it's not in the folder. Yeah, but anyways, let me switch this over real quick. Let me try to get into the Zoom on my laptop. All right, let me know. All right, I'm gonna mute myself for a second, guys, while I get this situated. Guys. Um, if there's so let me know if there's an echo, and if you guys can hear me. I think there might be an echo. So, yeah, let me know if there's. I'm gonna mute myself. Okay, let me know if there's an echo, guys, so I can try to fix it. I forgot what settings I had yesterday, but I think you guys should be able to see my screen here. So yeah, if you guys hear echo, just let me know. If not, then I think we're good. So I'm gonna turn on the chat bot. I'll make sure it's on a sim account, not my personal. Okay, got that going. Start it. Okay, trades are running right there. Off about $100 within a couple of seconds, like we said. See, this is a ghost order I was talking about. Like, there's no targets to get out of it. I'm just gonna let it run and see what that algo does. I'm gonna flatten out of it. Okay, so I'm in profit of $100 right now. As you can see, I just ran the algo really quickly. Yeah, so I ran the algo right there. I mean, you guys are watching it, and you can see it pretty much entered and exited maybe like 5 positions within the past couple of seconds. So let me go over here and recenter it. I'll start it up again. And that right there is where you can get screwed. So see how it kind of spiked up like that? Let me see if I can turn off I forgot how I did last data series. Let me turn off okay, so the chatbot obviously See price kind of spiked a little bit, so I'm in like negative 300 right now. I'll run it back again. As long as it chops up and down like that, it works pretty well. Whenever there's a breakout, you get burnt pretty bad. So I'm back. I recouped about $200 right there. Again, the chop bot is just kind of doing its thing. Its price kind of bounces around. So it's working pretty decent. So I'm not doing anything. Everything here is just automated. Okay, so I'm going back to almost break even right now. I was at negative 400 and I'm now back to negative 180 as it chops around. You have to watch it though, because if you don't watch it, then you get really screwed if it, kind of runs off on you. All right, I'm gonna flatten these out and I'll just reset it again. All right, so I'm at negative 180 right now. Right it back up right there. All right, I'm back to like negative 500. You guys can see the chop out is really, really fast. So like you have to be watching it because if you get a big candle like this, it'll usually stop, but then you have to flatten everything else out so it doesn't kind of keep going, right? So I went from like positive 200 to like negative 400 to basically back to break even. And now I'm back to negative 500 because this big candle over here kind of screwed all the choppy positions because it's not choppy right now. Um, Again, I'm gonna wait for it to chop up again and I'll just turn the chop bot back on. I know you guys can't see my P&L, but I wish there was a way to show it here. I mean, there should be a way. No, so yeah, the session for some reason this doesn't update. I'll have to talk to WCH to kind of fix this, but um, it basically shows you there's 9 wins and 11 losses. So I'm like slightly lost right now, but once it chops up again, I'll start to put it back on. Let me see if there's any other assets here where I mean, it could probably work on gold too. We just have to find an asset that's like really choppy. The thing with NQ is that it's not always very choppy, right? It'll be choppy right here. Like I think it would have had a field day right here, but then it started to really move directional. So again, NQ, I'll try and probably run it here again. Okay, let's start it. So there you go. I made some profit back right there. And again, right there, it was see these big candles can really screw your account up, or it could help it actually. So see how it's pushing up super heavily like that? I'm gonna close it up manually. This is what we consider a okay, so I made about a couple $100 on that. I actually went to negative 700 and then it came back. I'm now at negative 400. So you guys can see how fast it happens. These big spike candles could either really hurt your account or really help it, but you don't want to be trading when the price is moving this volatile. Um, okay, so right now the NQ is not really choppy. I mean, it's ranging, but it's not choppy. We don't want it to be ranging. We want it to be really choppy. Let's go to gold over here. Let's just try gold out. Got my orders right there. So again, right here, you guys can see my bot is currently now looking to get into buys right here and sells right here. So whenever it chops back up and down, that's where I make money, of course. I think gold might be a little bit of a safer bet because it's not extremely volatile, but it just takes longer for it to kind of stack up. Like right there, I just got screwed. A lot of those. And let me get out of it right there. It's gonna pull me out for some profit. All right. Let's go back to NQ. Gold is okay, but again, it started getting volatile. Um, but again, like I mentioned, the chop bot here, you have to find or you have to wait for the market to really get kind of flat. The thing with the chop bot is you're supposed to just let it run. So here, I'll just let it run and not touch it anymore, and we'll see if it works better. So there we go. It's starting to recoup some of the profits or some of the losses. And it's supposed to just repopulate. I think that's where there's an issue here. I think that's why Masich had to go and make some changes because it's not always repopulating. Okay, so I made about 500 right there. Um, after I'm only using one contract, so like it's not a lot of risk. Um, yeah, it's like a couple $100 here and there. Unless price breaks out, then yeah, you can take a big loss or you can. So you can see right there, I'm up like 2 points, 3 points. You can see my P&L right here. There's no cash value, but you can see the P&L with regard to points and ticks. All right, so now it's done. It's taking a break. So the thing with the chat bot here, again, if you guys want access to this, if you guys have are part of the premium, you guys can get access to the chat bot. Um, it's still in the testing phase, so like just make sure that you guys are paying attention to like all the updates and stuff that we're referring to. Um, it's choppy, but it's not choppy enough. Like that last run was actually pretty good. It recouped all the previous losses, and let's see, let's let it run there for a little bit. Okay, anyways, I mean, you guys can see both of my screens here. So if you're looking over here at my trading view, all right, so I didn't really make anything on that last. It was just a couple wins, couple losses. Let me see again. Yeah, I mean, Siege needs to fix this because it's not really accurate, the stats. Here you go, price moves directional. If you guys are looking at my trading view screen, there's not really much here right now. We had a sell momentum come up. Let's see. Hunter's asking what causes the ghost order seems to be price breaking out. The bot turns off to protect you, but it forgets to close the trade. Yeah. So that's what happens, Hunter. That's actually exactly what Masij said. He said that the bot will turn off to protect you, but the problem is that NinjaTrader doesn't have a function to flatten out your positions. So I don't think there's a way to flatten out with the bot. What it can do is it can create orders to get you out, right? It'll create a limit order to the top side or limit order to the bottom side. When the bot shuts off, there's no orders on the chart, right? That's why it creates the ghost order, like we talked about. I think Massey's trying to figure out a way around that, but he's still working on it, obviously. So yeah, it's better to have to be aware and follow it. But usually um, the bot knows what it's doing because it's taking into consideration order flow and like a lot of other things that that will prevent it from getting stuck in a position when it gets too choppy. Let's go to YM real quick. I'm over here on my trading view screen. Okay, let's check YM now. Let's kind of play around with YM. Now let's see if the bot here how it works on this. It's not choppy right now, so this might be a problem, but let me just run it. All right, let's see what happens here. No, see the bot turned off on its own because it realized that okay, it's not choppy right now, so this is not a time to run the bot. So that's what I mean about the bot being really smart. It'll turn itself off when it's not a good time to apply it. Yeah, understood. Well, at the top right, there's a close. Couldn't he use that if the bot turns off? Well, so what bots do is that they just place orders. There's no order for flatten all, right, Hunter? There's a flatten all button. Yeah, you have to manually touch that, but you can't really create a bot that's gonna manually close out. I mean, you probably could. We don't have the function on the tool yet. So we have the buttons here. Yes, there's buttons where you can click flatten, there's buttons where you click close. The problem is automating it. The bot can put orders all over the chart, right? You can put a limit order up here for a sell, limit order down here for a sell, etc. But when the bot turns off, that means there's no more functions, right? So if there's no more functions, there's no way for it to create another order for it to pull out of. So I think that's the problem. So let me just turn it on again. See how it places these orders here? The bot can place orders for you, but it can't flatten all. And that's where the issues run, where we run into that issue. Because like you said, I'm gonna wait for it to halt, and then when it halts, it's gonna close everything out, and it's not gonna place any more orders until you turn it back on. So that's where it becomes a problem. All right, so the trades are running right here for YM. Again, we're just kind of testing the chop bot if you guys are looking at my Ninja Trader screen. But let me go back over here to Trading View. And Trading View is actually, let me check if there's any. I think there was like two more entries that we were waiting for. So the 742 entry over here was 742 for a sell. That was a no entry. No entry over here as well. Or 746. Okay. So I'm back at like I recouped a couple of that just running the bot right there on for that last run. It locked in about 600. So I made 600 on that last run. So again, like I said before, guys, with the bot, it's like you're only supposed to run it for a little bit. Like the bot is only supposed to run for like maybe 10 minutes of every hour, or not even 10 minutes, maybe like 5 minutes of every hour. The bot will look for when the market's choppy, it'll turn on, and then it shuts off for a while. And then when it gets choppy, it'll turn back on, and then it'll make some profit, and then it'll just stop. So if I wanted to run it here again, because I think it's choppy, I'll just recenter, and then I'll just run again. And then right there, it just closed itself out because it's telling me that it's not choppy enough yet for the like all that stuff was automated. I didn't touch anything. Because the bot knows. Anyways, I'm back on my Ninja Trader, or sorry, I'm sure my trading view. And let me just update these real quick. All right, guys. So if you're looking over here at my main screen, today was a negative 1R for the 630. It's just one trade. And then for the 4020, it was a negative 2R. There's two trades here that didn't come up or that came up. Other than that, there was just a bunch of no entries. So today was just basically a bunch of no entry type days, or not type days, but a bunch of no entries for the day. And that's kind of where we're at so far. All right, so this week's a little choppy. It's CPI week, obviously. I was expecting there to be more direction, but there's been direction on open, and then it kind of just flattens out a little bit. Um, but yeah, there's nothing here to run with the chop bot. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. It is 8 o'clock right now, so we're about time to get off. Um, I'll just keep kind of playing with it. I have to keep playing with the chop bot here to find bugs, and then when I find these bugs, I let Message know. If you guys are running into any bugs yourself, just let me know, and I'll let Message know to create updates. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to figure out the sweet spot for this before I actually apply this on my live account. So right now I'm basically I made like a couple $100 right there, and then now it's just kind of sitting there. Let me turn it back on. See, this is the one thing that I don't understand too sometimes. The orders will like on the bottom it had two orders, but on the top it has a bunch. All right. So I lost about $200 on that one. Again, like I said, I'm doing one contract, so it's not a lot of big losses or wins. But I gotta figure out the sweet spot is. But all right, guys. So I think this is gonna about to be it. If you guys have any questions, let me check the chat real quick. I don't think there's really anything else here to look at. Um, yeah, I don't really see anything else here. But all right, so let me just turn off, or I'm gonna unshare my Ninja real quick. All right, my audio should sound better here. Okay, back on my main screen here, guys. Let's just take a look at the entries for the day before we get off. So these are the entries for the day for the algo on the 40/20. So there was only two entries for the day. It was basically a negative 2R, which is fine. I mean, I didn't take any of these trades here, but again, like I said, I'm going to be following the 40/20s. I'm not taking these entries yet. The only 40/20s I'm taking are the MPS entries, but looking at this so far for this week, we had a 4R yesterday, so basically two net wins. And then today we had two net losses, so negative 2R. For this week so far, we're currently at six, or not six, we're at 2R positive. Um, for the target entries, it's negative 2R. So positive 2R for all the listed entries, negative 2R for the target entries. Now looking over here at the 60/30, which are the actual entries that I'm taking, there's only one entry which was taken for this week so far for the target entry, so it's at negative 1R. For this week so far with listed entries, we're currently at positive 2R. Yesterday was a positive 3R day, and today was a negative 1R day. There was no actual target entries, but for the listed entries, that's kind of where we're at. Um, Again, the algo it's still operating pretty slow for this year so far, which is completely fine. You know, we do expect this to happen. There's always going to be slow months, there's going to be busier months. But we'll kind of see where this ends up going as we progress. As you guys can see, I'm not really listing the against momentum trades. I think it's kind of pointless because we're not trading in those directions. We're not even really documenting them. They're just kind of putting notes. So what I'm doing here is I'm just marking up the with momentum to get more and more data so that we can kind of figure out what we should focus on. The other thing that we're doing right now behind the scenes, I think this is why Masij is like really busy right now, is that he's running our stage 3 tests for the algo. So like now that we have that happening, we're going to understand what different assets should we run the algo on. Maybe YM is not the best asset to trade the algo on, right? So the good thing is that Masij is currently working on that and we'll understand what assets does the algo actually work best in. So should we trade gold? Like, you know, I'm open to transition from YM. I don't need to keep trading YM. We can move to NQ, we can move to ES, we can move to gold, we can move to oil. I can move to any asset. Whatever is yielding the most profit, we're gonna figure out which one is that by the case, and then hopefully by then we'll be able to make the transition. Because YM here is just it's just not giving us enough entries, right? I mean, I really like YM, but for the algo here, it's just YM is not, I don't think this is the asset to really use it on all the time. October was an amazing month for us, but everything else, you know, November, December, this month, it's just been too slow. So yeah, Masih is running the test on that. We put a lot of money into this algo, so we got to make it work. Yeah, right? We're not going to let that money go to waste. So, all right, guys, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hit me up on Discord. I'm probably going to stay around for a while on Discord because I'm going to run the chat bot in the background to run some more tests. But other than that, I'm going to wrap this session up because we are done for the day. And as you guys can see, it's still kind of chopping up between these two zones here. So not really much to work with. But all right, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, we'll be back here, same place, same time tomorrow. Hopefully, tomorrow's going to be a lot smoother. I believe there's some news tomorrow as well. This is CPI week. So if you guys are not familiar with CPI week, it's inflation week. All the inflation data is coming out. So tomorrow we do have PPI, that's producer price index. Not as crazy as today's CPI, consumer price index, but tomorrow is still going to be very volatile. A lot of news all throughout the day. And then Thursday we have jobless claims. And then Friday is going to be a little slower. It's going to be a Fed day. And then Monday, man, it's crazy. I feel like we have so many holidays, right? We have a holiday next week, guys. Next week is MLK Day. Say January 18th or 19th, no trading. It's a federal holiday. But all right, guys, that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, I'm gonna wrap this up for the day. If you guys want to keep playing with the chat bot, feel free. I'm gonna keep playing with it. Try to find a sweet spot, find an asset that works well. NQ again, like we said earlier, NQ works well. You have to use it when market's really choppy, which is probably gonna start chopping as we get closer to say 9 o'clock. So, all right, guys, I'll catch you guys then. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. Otherwise.